Again, a very good morning to version 2.0 of Drone Acharya. The lawyer speaks last, which is quite common. Fantastic points by all my co-panelists, especially, Sujit mentioned what is the future going to be. UAVs, I would like to look at drones slightly broader. Uh, Look at it more from a UAV perspective because it includes things beyond drones. It's definitely there for the future, whether it's drone aggregation, whether it's traffic management, whether it's security. These are things which are going to catch up with us very soon. They already caught up across various places in the world. What I'm going to talk on is for all of this to become a reality, we need a law. Now the government has definitely trying to push something for a couple of years because currently the position being that civilian use is quite questionable whether you can actually legally fly them. The strict letter of law says you cannot. But of course, we have the drone guidelines which came in November 2017, and the law is expected anytime soon. I'm sure various participants from the audience have also been interacting with the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So has my firm. I'm going to touch base upon broad 4 points, which based on industry feedback, based on discussions and dialogues which we've been having with the industry participants. What are the boiling points? And I'm sure people on this panel can also add, and we can take it up on the Q&A. The first part is based on the current guidelines which are there. Everything seems to be in a hard form. So the question which industry is asking that if we need to go and take approval from the DGCA, if we need to go and take approval from the MHA, whether there is a separate department which is going to be there within the DGCA, whether it's all going to be digitized in terms of the application process, and there are a lot of questions which are coming up on that. Just to update some of you all based on our interactions, there is going to be a digital platform which is going to be available to process these applications. And the DGCA is actually trying to have, some sort of a dedicated team which is actually going to pan out all of this. But let's just wait for the final law to come out. So that's one update on that. The question which is again open is that there are very few exempt categories in relation to which don't require approval from the DGCA and the MHA. So for the ones which actually require approval, there is a specific timeline which is there in the drone law, in the drone guidelines within which the DGCA is going to respond. But currently when it comes to the MHA clearance, there is no particular time period which is being specified. So the industry bodies are kind of always asking that whether that would be put into the final law which comes out, but we'll just wait to roll it out. So these 2 points specifically on the digitization and a dedicated cell. One common concern which has been arisen is that the way the law reads, the way the guidelines read as of now, is that only Indian companies can own drones. When I mean Indian companies, it doesn't mean subsidiaries of foreign companies. It means Indian companies and Indian citizens which wholly, they have majority control in Indian companies. So based on the current framework and industry feedback which we've been getting is that why has foreign subsidiaries of foreign companies been outside the purview of operating and owning drones? If the Make in India initiative is propagated and if the drones are being manufactured in India by subsidiaries of foreign companies, whether that should be allowed or not allowed. We don't have a definitive answer on this and how is it actually going to look in terms of when the law is rolled out. But this is one common concern which has been arisen from an industry perspective. Have the level playing field the same for foreign companies who have a presence in India? So that's broadly from a level playing field perspective. The third point is more from an operational perspective. I'm sure you guys have also looked at the law and given various comments. At a lot of places it says that you need to before launching a drone into the airspace, you need to go and notify the relevant authorities on ground, which is essentially the police authorities. Now, in certain parts there are certain exemptions which are there, and in certain parts the exemptions are not there. So I think a common consensus which the industry has, yes, from a security perspective, whenever a drone is launched, it needs to, you need to notify it. But specific exemptions should be there when it's for recreational purpose, if it's for, the nano and micro category, which is up to 2 kilos, or, if it's on an education premises. So every time to do that for research perspective, it may not be feasible to go and notify the relevant authorities. So there should be some sort of exemption on that. Yes, if it's purely beyond this and commercial use, definitely, a notification like this is required. So this is generally from an operational perspective. Another point from an operational perspective which the industry has been raising is when you go and take permission based on the current guidelines, you need to also give the flight path in terms of specifically where is it going to take off and where is it going to land. Now this is also kind of interesting and challenging because this space is very fluid, right? So today you may take off a drone, say from Lalit, but tomorrow after 2-3 months you may take it off from somewhere else. It's not necessary that you're going to, it's place agnostic, it's not limited to a particular place. So the industry has also been, looking at some flexibility on that, and we just wait to see how the government actually rolls out the law. Taking from Sujit's point, the future, you mentioned aggregation, and that's a very, very interesting take, right? That tomorrow, once this industry gets sophisticated, aggregation is definitely something which is going to happen. But just to take a step back, do the guidelines actually permit something like that? It's not very clear because any leasing, because if you're aggregating, you need to render it as a service or you need to lease it. There are only two ways you will do it. Otherwise, you can just own it. So whether leasing is actually going to be permissible or can you just offer drone services, it's slightly unclear in the guidelines. I know a few of y'all, again, and few of people who we've interacted are trying to propagate that yes, this should be doable, subject to the necessary, security clearances and the procedures being followed. But this is again something which we need to wait and see how the law actually rolls out on, because currently you cannot do it. I think these were the broad legal points I want to touch on. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know we are running late for the next session. If there are any questions specifically from a legal